Hello, welcome back. I know you guys love talking about phrasal verbs, and at the same time it makes you a little bit worried and you feel like you're never going to learn it. Yeah, I know. But don't worry, because today I want to tell you a little story that is real about my life, and I'm going to use lots of phrasal verbs in this story, and I hope this is going to help you understand it a little bit more, okay? So make sure that you're listening and that you're paying attention, that you're repeating what I'm saying. I think this is going to be the best way for you to improve your English with this video. Let's get started. I want to tell you guys about the first time I watched a film that you know probably called Notting Hill. First thing I need to teach you today is actually the pronunciation of this film, because everyone I've met says it wrong. And then they go to London and they say the name of the place, because Notting Hill is in fact a place in London, you know, a neighborhood, a place that you can visit in London. And people say it wrong as well. So be careful. Notting Hill. So it's Notting Hill. So I want to tell you about the first time I watched this film, because this was actually very important in my English learning hike. So when I look back at the moment that I watched this film, it brings back so many memories and feelings, and it's a strange thing. But the most important thing that I noticed when I look back at that time is how much I had learned and improved my English within a year of living in England, because that is when I watched the film, a year after I arrived, or thereabouts. But I cannot stop thinking about all the work I put in. Most importantly though, all the work I would still have to put in after that. But this is what happened. I went to the supermarket with my mom, and I used to have a TV in my room that you could put tapes in it. So it was like a tape TV. And I saw the tape for Notting Hill, and it was, I think, under a fiver. I think it probably was under a fiver. Under £5, under a fiver, and I decided to try it out. You know, I'd never watched that movie before. It was the first time. But I decided to try it out. I decided to see whether I would be able to understand the story. So I started watching the film, and I'm going to be honest with you, I could not make out a lot of what they were saying. But I just went along with it, and I just kept on watching. I was alone in my room, and I went along with it. I kept on listening and trying to understand specific sentences, and, you know, especially sarcasm and irony and those things, you know, humor. It was very, very hard to understand that, very difficult to grasp the meaning, but I just went along with it and kept watching. But there's one thing, as I was watching the film, I was not going over the dialogue in my head. I was just watching and just trying to feel something from the film, as opposed to trying to really understand everything that was being said. So instead of going over the monologue in my head, the dialogue in my head, I was just focusing on feeling, really. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to sit back and carry on watching and see if by the end of this film, I can make out what the whole story was about. It was so important for me to find out that I was in fact able to get through a whole film in English. I was. Yeah, of course, I was missing out on a lot of information and a lot of important, you know, details, not the main thing, details about the movie. But I could do it. I got through the whole film. So awesome, you know, like it filled me up with hope, most importantly, and joy, you know, to do that, to be brave enough to do that when we're learning. Is I don't want to try it, because if I fail, it's going to show me that all the work I've done for the past year has not been enough. That is not true. because you always have to remember that what you're comparing yourself to is in fact where you started. And I had started a year previously from no English at all, zero, nothing at all. And a year later, I was watching a film. Yeah, and I could feel things and get emotional and laugh and enjoy it. Yes, I missed out on a lot of things, but I watched it. I could do that. I ended up watching Notting Hill a billion times after that. It is a film that I still stop and watch if, I'm ever browsing through channels and I stumble upon Notting Hill unexpectedly. I will stop and watch it because it's a film that touches my heart and soul. It brings back memories. It takes me back to this place where I was so vulnerable as a learner and had no idea of the potential that I had as someone who was willing to learn. But let me tell you something. Every time I watch Notting Hill, every time I pick up on something new. It's mad. Every time I watch it, there's a little something there that I go, oh, yeah. Like something that I finally understand crystal clear, that I understand fully. I really understand what they were saying with that sentence. Every time there's a little bit more that I can pick up on. And a lot of people don't want to let on that their English keeps on improving over time, especially teachers, I think, because it makes them feel weak as a teacher, but I don't feel that at all. I know for a fact that my English will continue to improve. And if I think about my English today and videos I was posting on YouTube 8 years ago when I started my channel, I think my English is way better today. And I'm not afraid to let on that I keep on improving because I know I always will, because it's not my language. So I really hope that you have enjoyed this story with lots of phrasal verbs. Go back and look at those structures again. I'm not going to translate the phrasal verb. I'm not going to give you another meaning for the phrasal verb because you're not going to remember any of that. I just want you to feel the story. Okay, I want you to feel that story and I want you to think about, do this exercise with yourself. Think about a film that you watched in English a long time ago and the feelings that you can remember from that experience, or think about anything in your life and try to use some of those phrasal verbs I used with your story, with your experience, in a way that is simple and natural, okay? I don't want you to overthink phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs can be very hard if you start thinking about them a lot. So always bring the phrasal verb into a real context, okay? Don't just study phrasal verbs on their own. It's so hard to do, it's so hard to remember. There are so many similar ones, my goodness. So I hope it's been really helpful. And next time you watch Notting Hill, think of me. See you later. Bye.